You are what you consume. I didn't come to this realization until just now or a month ago. I first got introduced to the red pill community 8 years ago. And this was around the time when my first ex girlfriend from high school left me to have the college experience. I, yeah, she left me for the college experience. Shit sucked. I didn't know why. Red pill community basically just took me in, and I was watching people like FitX Fearless, Fresh and Fit, Strong Successful Male, and then also Entrepreneur in Cars, which is also known as Rich Cooper. He has a couple books out, and they're pretty great. But I think the definition of the red pill definitely shifted over time. Back then, I used it as kind of like a self-help kind of series to help me understand hard truths of the world that maybe my dad never really told me when I was a kid. It was about understanding the world, psychology, and how people operated. But over time, it's just an emphasis on, how women react to you in the dating market. It's all about how can they burn you and rake you under the coals, and how they can use you and use you for your resources and your time, and how like basically you aren't shit. So it's like this whole negative connotation of how women treat men in today's society. I didn't grow up with, sisters or many girlfriends per se. After high school, I took in this red pill mindset, and the only thing that surfaced my mind was all about, getting your money up, working out, and being the best version you can be so that you can attract, women to you. I'm 26 now, and I feel like I'm in a position where, I'm not trying to brag or anything, but I feel like a lot of people wish they were in my shoes right now. But, the women are pouring in. Going back to me not having a lot of girl best friends, or, just sisters in the house to kind of understand women. I didn't really know how to talk to them outside of brain rot reels or, how red pill people talk to them. It's a distorted reality. Until I actually went out and practiced and, obviously talk to women in real life. But in the back of my mind, I feel like the reason why I didn't have a lot of these girlfriends per se throughout college and things like that is because I've always had in the back of my mind that, these women maybe are using me for my time, maybe my resources. If let's say they they want to get boba, and I just decide to be nice just because. I don't know. Like there's on Strong Successful Male, he goes over a bunch of, Reddit stories or just stories in real life on people emailing him about how women just do them so dirty, whether it's girlfriends, wives, or just divorcees or exes. And, I'm really grateful for those stories because it really shows the dark side of human nature and how, women take advantage of guys if, they don't have a backbone. And different things to kind of be aware of, especially if she doesn't really like you. But after watching so many of these stories, it makes you realize that it makes you have a distorted view on women. At least that's how I kind of saw it myself. So I always had this pessimistic view on women, and, it's not really healthy by any means. But I guess what I'm trying to get at is I feel like the original red pill meaning, I feel like has been lost. What I mean by that is that the core themes of that include how are they going to use you, whether it's for attention and validation or just like if they're going to milk you for everything, for all your resources. And while that may be true if you're not really careful, for me at least, I think it really messed with my mind. I kind of had an overgeneralization of how women act in the world. I never gave women, I guess, a chance to be friends with me in that sense. That sounds really bad. That sounds so incel. I sound like an incel, if I'm going to be honest. But I didn't really learn my lesson about the red pill and how this, not brainwashing, but this idealistic version of the world kind of, shaped the way I am until just now. I was messing around on Hinge, met this cute Vietnamese girl. She's like 4 years younger than me, which is great. I now understand why older people like younger women. It's because they just bring so much energy. They're just so happy and things like that. Let's call this girl Selena. We had insane chemistry. Like we went out to mini golf. We were constantly, just flirting with each other and things like that. One thing I noticed is that like when I'm flirting with people, I like to like create banter. I like to kind of make fun of them in a way, in a playful way. I remember when we were, playing mini golf, I saw that she had a BMW windbreaker on, and I'm like, who wears a BMW windbreaker, right? Only people who thrift, you'd find that in thrift stores, right? So I was like, hey, where'd you get that windbreaker? It looks pretty cute. And she was like, yeah, I thrifted it. And I was like, yeah, I could tell. I feel like any girl would be, I feel like, I'm pretty known for just saying whatever's on the top of my mind, to be honest. And I'm glad this girl, Selena, like really took it good. She like bantered with it. She's like, yeah, like, how could you tell? And, we both laughed and she thought that was really funny, actually. So I was like, damn, this is wifey. We hit it off. We were just brushing up on each other and stuff like that. We wanted to get boba afterwards, so we went on a scooter. And hey, guys, if you guys want a tip for first dates, use a scooter to get around, like one of those Lime scooters. Have her in the front, you in the back, and you just drive together. I mean, it's basically giving a back hug, and girls love it. But fast forward to, I guess, the third date. We've been kind of hanging out a lot and things like that. Everything's going smoothly. The chemistry is A1. I don't think I've ever had such good chemistry before. But one thing I noticed was that, when we were talking about deal breakers, I was saying, hey, like, I don't like guy friends and things like that. Like that's a huge boundary for me. Turns out this girl had 2 guy best friends and a plethora of guys. This is super new to me. And obviously she told the council of guys in her friend groups about this deal breaker of mine. And I got berated in the text messages, I'm pretty sure. Because she didn't want me to meet her guy friends because her guy friends thought I just hated them right off the bat. And I was misogynist. Fuck, bro. Like, so I don't know. Obviously, like, there were some other boundaries, but that was like the main one that stuck out to her that she didn't like. I was like, shit. Like, now I'm going to be an overthinker. It's crazy because, like, when I guess I allowed this boundary during this situationship, she didn't just have like 1 or 2 guy friends. There was a decent amount. And I was like, all right, why not be open-minded for this one girl, right? It would come to a point where like I would talk about her like guy friends because I just wanted to know like their lore and how they all became friends and things like that. And she shared intimate things like how all these guys, said, certain things that like really touched her heart, like, like something super heartfelt. And I was just laying in her bed right next to her and I was like, hold up. Why would you not fall for a guy that makes you feel a certain way? Because I feel like if a girl said all these like heartfelt things to me, I'd be like, girl, we need to start something here. It was not just one guy who made her feel that way. It was 2 guys. And it was obviously her 2 guy best friends. That stung. I'm going to be honest. And I guess the lesson here is that it's crazy because when you hear so many stories about how these guys get just destroyed by guy best friends, different, cheating events happening, it's hard not to overthink when the situation happens to you. It came to a point where I felt like I was self-sabotaging the situationship just because I was making baseless assumptions. And I know that's a super annoying thing, especially when, girls do that or like guys do that, like especially me. That's super annoying and it's self-sabotaging, right? But I just couldn't help it. One thing that she didn't do was, I thought it was a red flag. She didn't invite me to her Halloween party. It's pretty crazy because, like, you know, lots of booze going around, lots of guys, lots of girls. And, you know, the red pill teaches you, right? Like, why would your girl go to a party without you? You know, I was overthinking a lot during Halloween, and it's crazy because all our guy best friends were there and things like that. So these baseless assumptions came to my head, especially when, you know, these red pill stories would talk about how don't let your girls on girls trip, don't let them go to the bars alone or with friends and things like that, because things do happen in those scenarios, especially when drinking is involved. And I don't know, I'm really jealous of people who don't have an inner monologue, but I feel like my inner monologue is talking to me all the time. I feel like I'm always overthinking things, and I feel like it really seeps into my real life. You know, one of my close friends always catches me when I'm overthinking stuff and when I'm thinking. Like, he says it's really obvious, and, you know, I'm really grateful that, you know, he points it out and stuff, because it really keeps me present more, and I'm really appreciative of that. Because, like, the red pill always teaches you, if a girl shows you disrespect, just drop her immediately. And that's kind of what I did. You know, I was like, F this. Why am I not at this party with you? Like, we've been on 8 dates already, and why am I not there, like, meeting your guy friends? But at the end of the day, it's because she said it's because they think you hate them because of what you said of, you know, like, no guy friend boundary. I feel like that's true to a certain degree, but I don't know. That could just be another excuse. I don't know at the end of the day, right? I don't know. There's so much stuff I need to work on as a dude. I don't know. There's so many things. I'm an imperfect human. I know I'm imperfect. You know, it was until, like, our situationship ended due to, I feel like, was my trust issues in the past, that I realized that, you know, I think the red pill community at least it has a lot of knowledge on how human nature works, but you really need to watch out for how much you're consuming, because it really will affect your thoughts and emotions, especially when you're in something maybe healthy. Like, for me at least, I realized that I was making a lot of baseless assumptions when maybe in actuality these assumptions weren't even true. Obviously, like, I don't know for sure, but that's all I can assume, is that what if, like, most of the time when you have these baseless assumptions, right, like, they aren't true. It's just your insecurities or your thoughts just projecting onto this other person. It's not fair to them. When you're consuming this red pill knowledge, you gotta be aware of how you're acting in the world, because maybe this is a false narrative for how we're supposed to take in relationships. At the end of the day, right, I think dating is just so messed up because we just both don't trust each other, right? The red pill ideology is you don't trust women, and feminism is where you just don't trust men. So we're at this point where we just both don't trust each other, leading to just less relationships as a whole. And I think this is a powerful thing to kind of think about, because, you see it all around the world, right? Like, Korea, they're getting in less relationships, having less babies. The whole world as a whole, like America and Europe, we're getting all in less relationships. And why is that? It's because feminism and, the red pill community took over the internet as a whole. And, as a whole, we're probably just all super just untrusting of relationships. And that's why we're all just kind of checking out. It sucks, but that's just the content that we're all fed. And that's just how we all perceive the world, is that the other person's out to get us, which could essentially make you lose potentially healthy relationships. I started to detox from, this red pill mindset and really wanted to learn how to have a healthy relationship. I mean, we gotta, at the end of the day, trust before we can even do anything. Because without trust, I don't think we can ever get into relationships. And I think that's just the cycle I feel like I'm stuck in. Freaking sucks. Not sure if anyone's here at the end, but thanks for watching. Appreciate it. I actually just came back from a haircut. It's pretty clean. Give you a side view. Give you a back view. But it's crazy because, I just came back from this haircut. He botched me in the chair. I'll put up something on the screen. Dude, it was pretty bad. I almost freaked out. But that's it. All right. See you next week.